Okay, hi, I just want to make an acknowledgement to country. We are on Combameri land, and I just want to acknowledge the elders and those that have been here past that have contributed to positively and connected to the land positively and the environment as well, and those that are here now and also those that will be in the future. Thank you. And my name is Barry, this is Tina, and our guest Rana today. And this is Making Waves. That was much better. Right. Okay, our guest today is Rana. She works at the MFO, the Multicultural Families Organisation. They offer all levels of support for children's families. They're into building confidence, connecting socially and celebrating, and also with crisis intervention. Rana manages projects with a women's focus. Highlight has been crossing borders, and I hear so much about this project. It gave opportunity for women to tell their really deep personal stories. First featured was just at for their families and friends, yep. And then to a sold out venue for the Beach Festival, which absolutely amazing, I think. Mm-hmm. Latest project is combining with MFO is a short film in partnership with Jude Calman. I thought I got that wrong. And Rana is a creator in all senses of the word, not just in terms of arts, where she's done using different mediums, especially writing and words, but also music and these projects as well, and creating community. It's definitely something that's I'm appreciative of, is real creators in community. So welcome, Rana.
Thank you so much, Barry.
So we are celebrating International Women's Week, and that's why we have Rana to be our ambassador. She's been doing projects, like I've just seen her on social media, and she's going to let us know of the definition of why we celebrate International Women's Week.
So International Women's Day is a United Nations Day that's celebrated all around the world. And it's really highlighting women's achievements and celebrating women, but it's also every year there's a theme. And this year in particular, it's about economic empowerment for women and supporting women to earn their own money, to be in positions of leadership, to have equality with pay and things like that. And there's a lot of evidence to show that when women do have that, it helps them to become extremely empowered, which supports to support themselves and also their families and their communities.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's what we should all be like teaching our girls and our daughters, and that kind of should be trending for for the rest of the year. So yeah. I'm so for that finance and getting that money thing. Yeah. Sorry, MFO. Yeah? Because I'm just thinking, I wanted to keep on talking about what it means for you as finance and economic, just while we're on that topic of, International Women's.
Yep.
What does that mean for you?
I think empowering a woman it's got so many levels to empower a woman. So we can help to build their confidence. We can provide them with opportunities to work, for an education. Yes. There's a huge amount of women around the world that don't know how to read and write. They don't have any money of their own, which makes them very powerless to change any situation. So whether it's in Australia or overseas, I've actually worked with women here who were experiencing, for example, financial abuse, and they had no access to money, although they lived in Australia, and their partner was totally controlling their money. I worked with one woman who had to provide receipts for anything she ever wanted to purchase from the shops. And so this woman had no freedom to leave the house. If she wanted to catch the bus, she had to provide a receipt. So you can just imagine having financial independence and freedom, which a lot of it starts with education, then provides every opportunity for a woman to make her own goals in life and work towards achieving them. And teaches our daughters as well, you know, not to rely on someone else, to be completely independent and reliant on ourselves.
Yeah, and this is what's happening at MFO?
So at MFO, I run a suite of programs to support migrant and refugee women. So we can help them if they're in crisis and just need support to resolve some issue. Maybe they're having some issue for divorce, or maybe they're having some child safety issues, or maybe they've just really lost their confidence for whatever reason and they just want to rebuild that confidence. So I can work with them one-on-one, providing support, helping them to set goals for themselves. We have an employment program that can support them to create a resume, to seek employment, apply for different jobs online, practice their interview skills, and also attend workshops about how do we get a job in Australia, because it's very different in Australia than many other countries. Get a chance to really practice job interview skills is really a huge thing for a lot of women. And then we also have the social component, which is supporting women to get together every Wednesday at our office. We have a program every Wednesday. We do a different activity. The first Wednesday of the month, we run cooking classes at the women's space. But then we have guest speakers coming in. They could be from the hospital. Maybe they're from different health services or local emergency services, or it could be a local artist as well coming in to teach us about their art. Well, a lot of the times we get the women to teach each other their own skills because they're so gifted and talented, and we value each woman as an individual. We think she has so much to offer our community. So we give her a space. We say, we're all here to listen to you. You tell us what you want to teach us. And it could be talking about their country, it could be showing us a hobby like crochet or something like that. It's a really beautiful group of women, and all women are welcome to this group.
Nice. And you created this?
Yeah, so it was created, about 6 or 7 years ago. It was in partnership with someone else, and then it's kind of taken on its own life at MFO now. And we always have different women coming through. So sometimes women, they get a job or they move away, and then other women will come in. It's all different age groups, all different abilities.
Yes.
And it's just a very supportive, nurturing, safe space for women to get together.
And the women that come to MFO, they are...
So generally we support migrant and refugee women. So someone coming to Australia, maybe they've just arrived in Australia a couple of months ago. Maybe they've been here for 20 years. Maybe it's a woman who's been at home caring for her family. She hasn't really ventured out in the community. Her English level is very low. Her confidence level is very low. She's just looking to get out of the house and connect with people. Because a lot of our migrant communities, they come to Australia, they were in a collective society where they lived together and they ate with their neighbours and they partied and celebrated. And all of a sudden they come here, which does give them a better life economically and probably better prosperity for their future and their children's education, but they miss that sense of community, which to them, to many people from other cultures, it's just as important as eating and drinking. You know, it's so much a part of who we are. And so we try to give them a space at MFO to connect with community. Maybe it's not their own community, it's just all different cultures. But we welcome all women. So we have a number of Australian women. I have amazing volunteers who are Australian women who have been with me for a number of years, and they're just amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. So your position in MFO, because you run these women programs, but do you have like another title in the organisation?
The title is Manager of the Multicultural Women's Office. But then a big component of what I do, well, it's not really in my my job description, but it's kind of evolved over the years that because at MFO we say that we want to promote the idea of being a leader of positive change. And that means that each of us take personal responsibility, that change doesn't just happen in the world. We each have to do something to create that positive change. And the way we do that is by inviting the community to share stories and share ideas and learning about each other. Because once you know someone, it's really hard to hate them. And, you know, I was speaking to Barry yesterday and I explained that there's a lot of issues with hate at the moment. There's hate crimes, there's road rage, there's just so much violence and anger. Everyone's just angry and upset. But when you sit down and you really get to know someone and you connect as a human, it's very, very hard to hate somebody. So these are the kind of projects that I love to work on, working with community.
Wow.
And art is a really huge aspect of that, because in my view, art doesn't really go through the logical brain. It gets overridden by logic and it goes straight into our hearts.
Nice.
And it touches us deep, deep down. So when I work on an art project and I see people just watching and feeling inspired by what they're hearing, their logic is not trying to analyse what they're hearing or what they're seeing visually or the music they're listening to. They're just feeling a sense of empathy without really understanding why. And that's why I think art's very powerful.
Yeah, because now something just came to me. You're really using the art as like therapy.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That could be another avenue that you could be using the community.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I love it how you're doing that. I actually thought, are you like a counsellor as well?
Yeah, I've studied counselling and I've also studied creative therapies. Yeah, okay. So I do use that a lot in my work. So a lot of times, for example, in my group work, we'll be sitting down and we want to discuss maybe a difficult topic like domestic violence. So we won't stand there and put a PowerPoint presentation and do a lecture. You know, I think that's very old school. Maybe it works in the business world, but it doesn't so much work with community. So then we might do some activities about love. And then we might separate groups into explaining what is healthy relationship, what is an unhealthy relationship. Let's demonstrate it with our bodies. Let's draw a picture of what it means to us to not be happy in a relationship and what could be some of the reasons for that. Let's do a visual representation of what is control. And, you know, so using lots of other ways to communicate ideas where people can come up with their own ideas and minimising the trauma that can come from that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just seen, is it Sarah? I seen it this morning on Instagram. It's some girls doing something.
Oh, we have a young group of women who want to get together in a safe space. So a lot of them are Muslim women, and what they express to us is that they don't really find a safe space. Like a lot of young people their age, they go out to bars and clubs, and there's not really a safe space where they could just sit down and connect and just be together, you know, as young women. And they asked us for a space, and we were more than happy to provide them our office. So they'll be having their first group, and they're hoping to bring other young women in to just get together and just make friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I love that the community is driving this now. So in the past, we would have had to organise this and organise people to come, but now the community, they're being leaders of positive change, and they're standing up and saying, what can we do to have a safer, more friendly, happier community? And they're starting to have these events, which is absolutely amazing. We love it.
Nice.
Especially, nurturing those leaders that come through from those taking initiatives. That's excellent.
How great that they have a sense of responsibility to get together. You know, they're all very busy women. They're all studying at university, a lot of them, but they really want to build community, which is really lovely.
That's so awesome. I'm so happy that that's happening for them.
Yes.
And when is this meet and greet open or no? Just for
it's young women. Yeah, young women can just register. It's just for young women.
Right.
Yeah, so they can register, and there's a little payment because they're doing an iftar because it's Ramadan starting in a few days. So the first one will be an iftar, but all young women are welcome to that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Us oldies aren't welcome. No. We want to give them the space to share and be young and talk about issues that are important to them.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It is.
And what else would be happening at MFO?
Okay, so just to explain a little bit about the organisation. So we've been around for about 25 years supporting the Gold Coast migrant and refugee community. And it started off as a very small little organisation with just a few staff members supporting newly arrived refugees. And now it's sort of expanded into this amazing hub in the middle of Southport supporting the community. And we provide all levels of services and support. So we have youth programs, we have homework club to support young children with their development at different schools and libraries. We have NDIS support for disability.
Nice.
We have Skilling Queenslanders for Work, free courses that people could register for based on their visa status. So depending on the people's visa, they would be eligible for these courses. We have the employment support. We have settlement support for people who've just arrived in Australia within the last 5 years. Then we have English support for our clients. So if they're registered with us, then they could access English support and driving support and things like that, computer skills. So, and then I run the women's programs, and I think I've covered most of it. I can't remember if I forgot something.
I love that. So, we've covered the community and where you work. Is there anything else before we move on that you'd like to talk about before we move on to the next question that I'm going to ask?
Okay. Yes, we have an amazing multicultural festival that we celebrate in September of every year.
Yes.
And it's a great celebration of diversity and multiculturalism in the Southport Broadwater Parklands. So follow our Facebook page, Multicultural Families Organisation, for more information about that.
Yes. And they're awesome. I love how everybody always dressing up.
Yeah, it's so fun and colourful and happy and good food.
The trucks and the food. And you know what I love about it the most? Like, it's on the water.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And I love that feeling of like you're on a tropical paradise.
Yes.
And you're also getting fed
Yeah.
different foods. But you also got everybody, it's like the whole country is just on the Broadwater Parklands.
It's like the whole world is represented within this little area on our beautiful Broadwater Parklands.
And the dancing and, you know, showing the cultures.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's just
It's
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah, I've been to a few out there, and it is a really good vibe. So does MFO help support those like the different ethnic community groups as well? Because they have stalls there.
Yeah, we provide it all for free. So no one has to pay. The food trucks don't have to pay. We love people from different communities coming and selling their beautiful items from their country or handmade items and goods. We encourage the community to come and embrace this festival because it is really about them. It's about celebrating who we are as Gold Coast. And you know, Gold Coast is about 30% of people on the Gold Coast were born overseas. People think Gold Coast, they have a very different view of what Gold Coast actually is, but it's a very multicultural, vibrant, colourful community.
Yeah, it is.
So this is a great opportunity to come and celebrate.
Yes, totally. Love it. I'm so for that. Do you have anything else?
Not with this topic. I did have a deeper question before. Like, you were talking about counselling, and you mentioned like art therapy and group counselling. How different is that to like one-on-one counselling? What are the kind of, I won't say pros and cons, but what do you feel works? And
just to clarify, like I have studied, but I don't use that in my work because I'm not registered at the moment. But to say using creativity in therapy in general, it's a way where sometimes it's very different. You know, talk therapies, which is what a psychologist and a counsellor will do. It's a very Western mentality of therapy and healing. You know, in a lot of cultures overseas, it's not seen as appropriate to sit down and talk about your problems outside the family or outside someone you trust. So I find that using creativity, so you might give someone some clay and say, who's going through a very difficult time emotionally, and you might say, what does your pain feel like? Can you represent that in a sculpture? Or using a painting, what colour to you represents hurt? And it's finding a way to talk about topics that's not so direct that people have to straight away just look at you and tell you. So they can be completely, and it works really well with men, with young people. And I don't know about men because men don't really like to talk, and I think practical things are more useful with men, so if they're making things. But I know with women it's very, very powerful because people can often draw something and tell you this is how I feel, but they can't tell you how they feel. And then you start looking at that and say, what does this shape mean to you? What does this reflect within your life? And that's the type of therapy. And you can actually go and visit an arts therapist who will explore your emotions through that way. So I'm not a qualified art therapist, but I do use creativity as a way to explore difficult topics, and it gives a lot of healing. It gives
the way you explained it there, I feel like it's very much about the individual connecting, you know, with whatever feelings or whatever thoughts that they have, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
It is.
Very
and sometimes it's hard to put your finger on it or name it, or especially if you speak another language.
Yeah.
But you could quite easily use some colours and shapes to represent it.
Excellent.
I love it. I think I just had this thing because Rana and I have known each other for a long time. and this is how our relationship has gone like this. When I came from Sydney, I didn't know anything. She was that friend. She was that good friend that stuck by me all the way till now. So she knows how she does have a creative way of counselling someone and just making them feel welcome and making them feel better. There's just been a lot of times, and so I just had that in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's why we're here, because she has had my back pretty much all the way till now. So yeah, there's a lot of things I should be thanking you for.
Oh, please thank yourself, because you did all the hard work. But you know, it's amazing to just have someone to believe you and listen to you, and tell you that they support you. And I think, you know, sometimes that's all you have to say to someone, and they just sort out all the issues in their life themselves.
Nice.
But when you don't feel supported or heard, you feel like you're nothing, and that's not a nice way for anyone to feel.
Yeah, that's why I think when we're talking about counselling, and she's saying she's not registered, but I'm like, nah man, I already gave you you're already registered. And I give you the stamp, I give you the trophy, everything. Here, you got the stage. You take the stage now. But look, we're going to move on to other more logic things now, because I'd like to know, like, you've been supporting me with things, you know, I don't know how to say it, but my personal stuff. And I, like, when I look at you, you are my ambassador. Like, from the beginning, I'm like, I have to be like that. I have to be like that. I got to continue, go to her programs. I just got to be on her level. And so I would like to know about, because it's my weakness.
There's no weaknesses, there's just places to develop ourselves.
Okay. So I would like to know about how you do, like, when you're doing a project or when you're doing a program or a task, how do you do your scheduling, time management, doing everything, and you're just so good at it, because every day you're always giving me a picture with information.
You're on my WhatsApp group, so you receive everything.
How did she think about that already? She was just doing this yesterday, and then now she's doing this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I need to do that. And you know, honestly, that motivates me. I'm like, I gotta think of something. I gotta think of a project. So I just like to get inside of your thoughts and ask you maybe tips, or do you have resources or links, or do you want an app that helps you? Like, what is your secret? Please let us know, because I would love to be on the ball like you. Just time management, scheduling, you know, you're always on time, you're always, you know, making sure, and you're a mum. You're a mum of, you know, 2 teenagers, and it seems like you can manage to be a mum, you can manage the women, you can manage the girls that need you, like the ones that can't speak English, the ones that are going through domestic violence. You're, you know, always doing networking things, you're checking multicultural festivals, you're everywhere. So please.
I think I'm horrible at things like that, but anyway, it's nice to hear from you that you think I'm good at it. Gosh, I've never thought of myself as very logical. Okay, I do have a very strict diary, because I have to, because don't forget, this is my job too. So it's my professional job to run these programs and projects, and even attending some of the events. Like, that's all a part of my job. And so when you have a proper position that's your job, you have to be organized, otherwise things just don't get done. And if they don't get done, then you're not going to keep your job very long. So, but it does help that I'm so passionate about everything I do, that I love every single part of my job. I would never swap it for the world. But having a calendar and being really strict with my calendar, so I do schedule everything. If someone needs support, I'll have to put an appointment in there for them, and I'll give them 2 hours of my time during my day so I can really be there for them. If I have an event, I'll schedule that into my calendar so I can't book something else during the time that I'm at that event. I do have a schedule for my women's group, for example. I have a schedule 3 months in advance, and I have emailed already speakers and artists and people that I want. Yeah, and I have a very strict schedule. I mean, the women all know, and I'll send out a message usually a few days before, a week before, telling the women what we've got planned that week. I'll always remind them of the group as well. And but I have a schedule, and you have to pre-plan because a lot of guest speakers are busy with their lives. So I've got people scheduled until the end of April, early May.
So you're saying be 3 months ahead?
With the group, yeah, because I really want to get good speakers to come in, and so I'll email them. I emailed everyone, say in January when I got back to work from holidays, and said, these are some proposed dates. I really would like you to come and be a speaker for my women's group, because I know my women's group's every Wednesday at 10:30. I just offered them some dates, and they got back to me, and I booked them in, and that's done. So coordination is difficult. Like, you do have to have a little bit of time management skills, but I think it's different when you're doing it as a hobby and as a fun thing, and and it's very different when you're in a profession where you have to deliver, like you've got KPIs that you have to deliver. So I have a lot of sticky notes.
Nice sticky notes.
Sticky notes are great, and I do, like, I have a diary, and every day I'll just put notes in my diary that day. So then I just reflect back on it the day before, the day after, and I just see what is that I missed, and I'll tick lists. I love doing lists and ticking off.
Love doing lists.
But I don't see myself as a super organised person, but my system seems to work for me. So.
Love it. Nice.
How do you not see it as organised? Do you think you're still juggling, or is it?
It's because there's so many interruptions in my day. Okay. So, unless I'm sitting with someone supporting them, then I won't get any interruptions. Yeah. I won't answer phone calls. But I'll be working on, say, doing a funding application, and then I'll get a phone call from this person, and then someone will come in to see me, and they'll ask me a question. I've got to give them this, and then I'll get a text message. This is urgent. Please provide me the phone number for this crisis service. So it feels like I'm constantly trying to catch up. That's why it feels like I'm unorganised, because you're getting constant interruptions all the time. But in a way, I love to be busy. I don't think I could cope with a job where I had a job like that. I worked for the government for many years before I came to the Gold Coast. It was just me in front of a computer, and I hated that. And it was very I had all day to do a document, and there was no interruptions whatsoever. And I thought that was boring. I come from a Lebanese family, and you always get interrupted, so it suits me well.
That's cool.
Nice. I like that. Yes, please take a water. It'll probably come back. I'd like to ask how, I don't know why it's there, it must have been there last night, but it does say, how do you make time for your boys?
Oh, for my family.
Through the whole chaos.
So,
and your husband.
You'll find that unless it's a creative personal project, my time at work is 9 till 3, Monday to Thursday. And then I try not to touch my phone, because I have 2 phones, very important. My work and project phone, and then my family phone. And the family phone is only for my children and my family, my parents. And I'll have that with me on the weekends. I will check my other phone, but I don't religiously have it with me all the time. You have to be able to switch off.
Okay.
And that's something I learned over the years, because you will constantly get interruptions and people calling and people asking questions. And I now make it very clear to people at work, clients, that these are my work hours, and I don't usually have the phone with me on the weekends. If there's something really urgent, please leave me a message or a voice message, and I will check, and if it's really urgent, I'll get back to you. But if you don't switch off your mind and your body from work, then you can get burned out. Yeah. And it's happened to me before. It's happened to a lot of people. And if you don't look after yourself, number one, so you can be standing, you're like the trunk of a tree, and all these branches and are relying on you to be standing. And if the trunk of the tree falls, everything falls. So you've got to look after yourself, number one, with nutrition, with health, with community, with love, with friendship. And so I can be strong for my children. My children are adults, like a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. They still need mum a lot. They don't know that they need mum. They think they don't need mum, but they still do. you know, and my husband as well. You know, we have a very close relationship, and you know, in any relationship, you really need to maintain a good connection. Relationships don't just happen; they take a lot of work. We've been married for 23 years now, so it's ever evolving, and as the family situation changes with children growing older, you know, your relationship changes. So we always make sure we have meaningful time together. Like on the weekends, on a Sunday, I love to go for a drive and go down south or go up north and really just have a day together to do something. Nice. I think it's really, really important.
And it is important when you have your husband that supports you, and your boys, and like they're not like, hurry up and come home, Mum, we need you.
Yeah.
It's like they go, yeah, we understand, Mum, you got your job, yeah. And that gives you time to actually engage with the people in the community, and I think that's what I love about how you balance everything.
It's hard, Tina. You know, it may look easy to people outside, and I think, you know, it's easy to look at social media and think this person has just got the perfect life. Trust me, I go crazy sometimes. You know, it's real, and I never feel like a good mum, and especially when they were younger. Now they're all out of school. I think no mum ever really 100% feels like she's doing everything she can, you know, like I wish I could always have an amazing healthy meal for them to eat, and, you know, just, you know, be there when they need me. Like sometimes I'm there when they need me, sometimes I'm not because I'm at work or I'm doing something, but they are my number one priority. If they really need me, I'll always be there. I'll drop everything. But sometimes you just can't drop because I'm always dealing with a crisis, or I'm dealing with, so it is a delicate balance, and you'll never feel like you're perfectly balanced, ever. Let me just guarantee you that now. Ever.
Okay.
But, you know, close enough is good enough kind of thing. And just having that separation, okay, this is my personal time now. Tonight we're having a family dinner, all the phones are off. We're just going to spend that quality time together. And as much as possible, you know, just to keep the fairness, you know, give everything its time, including yourself. I give myself time every single week to myself. It's usually at the beach, either swimming or walking, because that's just my recharge for my battery, and I prefer to do that alone.
Do you do that like the whole
every
day?
week?
Or
it depends, you know. No, it'll be 3 hours probably.
3 hours.
3 or 4 hours. I'll go for a walk. I might go have a coffee or have lunch or breakfast just by myself. It's usually a Friday morning when everyone's at work and busy with their life, and I just go have that time for myself. And it's so important to me. If it's raining, I get very angry.
So have a day for yourself.
Yes, give yourself a minimum. You know what? If we really look at our time, everyone will have a spare 4 hours a week that they could give to themselves to do whatever they absolutely love to do. For me, it happens to be outside in nature, but for someone else, it could be meditating, or it could be singing, or it could be anything, you know, whatever is really important for you. Just once a week. It's really not that hard to do if you make sure you schedule it in to your week. And that's my Friday morning is my schedule.
Nice. Okay. All right. I always see you always happy. Happy here, happy there.
Stop looking at social media, Tina.
No. Even when we're talking, and you know, when I see you do your women, and sometimes I would look and I'm like, wow, she just does not get back. And I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. You know. Like, I'm done. How does she do this? So, can you explain the process of when someone that your character, like if you're going to face another character that is going to come against you, how do you quickly change to be like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way. Can you explain?
You mean if someone we have a conflict? If I have a conflict with someone?
But I've never seen you have a conflict.
I have. 100% I have. In professional life, in my personal life, 100%. So I'll tell you what I think. I'm a positive person, and I think that's probably why it reflects as I'm always happy, and I'm not always happy. I cry, I scream, I whinge. I need sometimes to I get home, I say, please no one talk to me, I just need to be by myself, and I'll go into a room and be by myself. Generally, I try not to do that in public, and generally I try not to do that at work, but if I am upset, it will show on my face because I cannot hide my feelings. I've got one of those faces that anything I'm thinking just reflects on it, which is really sad and, you know, worrying. But in general, I try to maintain a positive attitude. And I can't tell you, like, sometimes my energy is very drained because when you're supporting someone who's been through horrific things in their life, like I've worked with people who no human should ever experience what they've experienced. And you're sitting there listening to that story and you're providing support. It takes a lot of your energy. So by the time I get home, I sometimes feel really, really drained of energy. And you'll never see me on social media on any photo after that session because you will not recognize me. I actually, probably have bags under my eyes afterwards. And it's, any human, when you're sitting with another human who's been suffering, you can't help but be affected. And I'm very, very sensitive to energy and emotionally. So I'll go home and I'll have a shower because water just refreshes me and it shifts my energy back. It gives it back to me. And I'll just hug my children, or I'll hug my husband, or, having that human connection, someone to be close with. Don't even have to tell them anything. If they're just there for you, it makes a huge difference. And I'll watch a comedy or something like that on TV. Like, I do something fun to really get out of that. Okay, so that's one part. But in general, I try to keep a positive attitude because there was a book that I never read, but the title of it always resonates, and it's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I'd like to read that book because I think it would be very useful. But just the title is very inspiring to me because, I know people who have been diagnosed with a horrible illness or who have had some tragedy happen in their life. And I just think I'm so blessed and lucky that I have my health. I have my family around me. I have a roof over my head. Like, I'm just so always grateful for everything that I have. And I just always look at the positive in life, So recently I did go through some negative emotions about an issue, and I just try to shift my attention back to the positives, writing a list of things I'm grateful for. And you know what else I did? I take a lot of photos, and I actually created a video on my phone of all the amazing things that have happened in my life, like the trips I've done, lunches with friends, times I've spent with my children that were just at the beach and we just took some photos. And that's a video with beautiful music that I'll just watch if I really need that recharge. I'll just watch, and it just reminds me of the blessings in my life and the positivity in my life. And this is something negative, but I'm not going to let it overwhelm the 99% of positive that I have. Yes. And I try to, I think that's my strategy. Nice. And so dealing with conflict, it's not easy. And I used to be the kind of person that would always shut up and I would never talk back. And if someone, someone said or did something to me, I just would let it go. And as I've built my confidence over the years, and it took me a long time, I was a very quiet child, if you believe it or not, not anymore. And now I stand up for myself in a respectful way. So I don't swear at people. I don't, I try not to be, like if I'm sending an email or if I'm talking to someone, I will be direct, but I'm very careful with the language that I use with people to not blow something up out of proportion, and also to give them an opportunity to say their part, and then I'll say my part, and I'll specify things in dot points and say, look, this is what's happened, on this date this happened, I understood this from you. If this has been a miscommunication, please explain it to me, and try to find some middle ground somewhere. It doesn't always work. Some people just don't want to like you for whatever reason. Then that's their prerogative. I can't be responsible for the way other people feel, especially about me or about something I've done. And unfortunately, when you raise your profile, you do build enemies because people become very insecure when they see someone else succeed. And it should never be the case, but it is the case. And we got to expect that. And again, I can't be responsible for the way you feel. I just do my own thing, and that's all I can ever do.
I love it. That's so good. So take photos of good memories, keep it in a video just in case when you fall, you can always look back on it, and that would motivate you back.
And also write down what you're grateful for, the positive things in your life. And whenever bad things are happening, because we tend to catastrophize one little thing or two or three, it could be that you're on a bad run, a lot of negative things are happening, and then we think everything is bad, the whole world is bad, I'm going to die, an asteroid's going to come down and kill me, you know what I mean? And I experienced anxiety at one stage in my life too, so that, those thoughts can come to you in the middle of the night and non-stop just not leave you. True. So that's why I just put things into perspective and say, just focus on the positive. Yes, there's some negative. I'll find a way to deal with that. Writing things down that are negative is also helpful because it gets them out of your mind and it gets them down on paper. And then you can look at that and say, okay, I'm going to deal with this like this, and I'll just put it back there. So it gets it out of your mind. That's very important as well.
Do you have, okay, I just thought about myself, sorry.
No, it's okay.
But sometimes, like, I have a very short temper. Like, my fuse really sparks fast.
Yeah.
And I just, like, I laugh it off. Like, I'm like, ha, 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 yeah, don't make me mad, you're going to get it. And then I walk away. Do you have another tactic?
Yes, because while I was doing my counselling course, we have to do a lot of self-analysis. So why we think the way we think, why we act the way we act, and you have to do a lot of that stuff on yourself. So when someone triggers you, there's a reason for that. What is it that they're triggering within you? Is it that I'm not good enough, which is something that most people get triggered by? Because if you're telling me that, that means I'm not good enough, and I've tried to prove that I'm good enough, but nothing I can do proves that I'm good enough. It's something internal within yourself, you know. So there's a great example they used in my studies where you could be walking down the street. I could be walking down the street and I see Tina, and I say, hi Tina, and you don't look at me, and you just go like this and you just walk. And I think, oh my God, Tina hates me. There's so many different ways you can think about that situation. Oh my God, Tina hates me, but I just called her last week and she was fine. What was it, that thing that I did? Was it that thing? Why does she hate me? I don't deserve to be hated. Okay, that's one train of thought. Another train of thought is, wow, Tina looks upset or sad about something. I wonder what's triggered her. And I just continue on my day. And there's so many other things between that could have happened. Now, the situation hasn't changed. It's still exactly the same situation. But how I've responded with it, my thought process about it, that's what's different. So when you're getting triggered, it's your thoughts about what's triggered you that's causing the pain inside you. It's not what's actually happened.
Thank you. Did you get that? It's our own thoughts that's triggering us.
And our thoughts actually, you know, this is the biggest challenge that we have in our life. Our thoughts, you know, you've never heard someone speak to you as bad as you speak to yourself.
Yeah.
It happens to every single one of us. And that's why you have to challenge that. And when I used to speak to myself like that, and then I started becoming more aware. It's all about awareness of the language I use with myself. And I started telling myself, no, I don't deserve to be spoken to like that. I wouldn't accept a friend telling me that. Why on earth would I accept myself telling me that? And I'm always in my head telling me these things over and over again. So, yeah, it takes work. You have to stop and recognize what's going on. What is it that's triggering you? Why is it triggering you? Think of your life and think of your challenges and think of your struggles and, you know, what trauma is coming back in that instant. So there's so many components of that. You have to dissect it. And you have to, if you know, a lot of people are not self-aware. They can tell you about the whole world, but they can't tell you about their internal self and the reasons they think, the thoughts. And I mean, I have to say, I listen to a lot of inspirational speakers. You know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I think is amazing. He talks about a lot about how we can change our life just by changing our thoughts.
Nice, Dr. Joe
Dispenza. He's one of the people I listen to, and I think he's amazing. Mel Robbins' podcast is an amazing podcast. She's very psychology based, and she talks about lots of different things about how to change our life. So I have to say, on my spare time, I do, like if I'm doing the dishes, cooking, I'll have a podcast or one of these interviews on with someone that really inspires me.
Nice.
And almost every day I'll listen to someone like that just to keep, you know. So see, it's a lot of work to stay positive.
It is, isn't it?
It doesn't automatically happen. But, you know, I wanted my life to be the most fulfilling that it can be. And that's what I'm committed to.
Yeah, awesome. I love it.
It's like this, you know, we're living in this world where there's a lot of energy moving. There's been a lot of trauma as well. And we're shifting a lot of energy from people to each other. And, you know, we can be very sensitive to picking up energy and things like that. And I really see you in that sense as a healer, you know, because you're taking a lot of trauma and energy from other people, but in the same sense, you can only heal yourself, you know. But one thing that I really got out of you, and just from what you were saying, was how you recharge yourself and the power of gratitude. It's so powerful, actually,
so
to just bring yourself back up to that And I never looked at it like that. I always knew about gratitude and what it does and stuff like that, but really sensing that power, it's really cool, and I'll keep that definitely at the forefront to try to keep me going. And the other thing as well was you talked about the way you talk to yourself, but also treating yourself, and treating yourself as a good friend, or or your best friend, really.
Yes,
you got
100%.
Really, whether it's going out and buying yourself a cake or something, you treat yourself, or you treat your friend to coffee or a cake or something. You do that for yourself, and be kind of thankful and enjoy it, being treated, and treat someone else.
Because we're stuck with each other for life, aren't we? So
exactly.
Can't escape.
Can't escape that one.
I just wanted to say one more thing about that. Is something really powerful that I learned through my studies was our thoughts are not facts. So just because you think a thought doesn't mean that it's true. So you say, I can never do this. That's not the truth. It's just a thought. This is too hard for me. Other people can do it, but I can't. Whatever that thought is, just stop and think, where's that thought coming from? Do I agree with that or not? Is it just an automatic thought that I've always just thought, and now it's just become the norm for me? Did it come from a teacher when I was younger? Did it come from a parent or someone older saying, you'll never be able to do this? Where did it come from? It's not a fact. You can challenge that and change that. You've got the control.
Nice.
That was the trauma, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So, anything else we want to finish off on?
Is it time?
Okay. Told you 2 hours goes quick. Now we want to cut it down to 1 hour.
All right. I want to quickly rush into, because really her gift is, that was her gift for community, but she also has an artistic one, and that's her spoken word.
Yeah.
So I want to quickly, a lot of the stuff is about political issues, and I just wanted to know what, inspires, how do you get that thought inspired to write?
So I guess, I like to write about meaningful things. I don't really like to write about love and romance, and it's beautiful to read that stuff, and I love to read other people writing about that. But I think because I see so much injustice and I see so much adversity and just things that are wrong with this world, I think if I'm going to put something together, I just want it to be challenge some idea or some injustice that exists out there. So, and I didn't really intend to start doing that. I mean, even writing itself was never really meant to be anything other than just me putting ideas down. But it did give me a lot of healing, because when I wrote the first spoken word piece, which was A Child of War, which was about my experiences as a child in Lebanon, going through a civil war, and all the memories that I have, which are very scattered, but there's a feeling that I feel, but I can't really put it into words, and I really wanted to heal from that, because I had so much fear. I had feared from the dark, I feared from loud noises, I had all these fears, and I felt like it was really stopping me in my life, so I just wanted to overcome it. And I just started writing things down, it was just words or memories or flashes or whatever it was. And then as I read it, I thought, wow, this is really creating a bit of a picture of my experiences. And then I put it into this poem, and I just read it, and I just started crying, thinking, oh my God, this is all my memories on a piece of paper. And it just took it all out of my heart, and it came out of my body.
This is your poem?
This is, A Child of War. Yeah, I can do it for you if you like.
Yes.
And so this was a journey. It took about a year to write this, because I had to explore a lot of things that I didn't want to go back to. So really, it took a long time, but then I started writing it, and then I did a video, and I felt like I needed some music, so I created some music. I was telling Barry during COVID, I taught myself to do all these things that, we had all this spare time, and it is on my Instagram if people would like to hear it with the music. But I'm happy to share it with you. It is my favourite poem because it was my first, and it was because so powerful, so healing for me. And since then I've written about lots of other topics, women's rights and, you know, poverty and things like that. But yeah, this is, share it with you. Okay, it's called The Child of War. So, the power is out. In the pitch black of night, people shout. As shelling intensifies, echoes of gunfire reverberate through the streets, jolting us from our sleep in a bewildered state. The shudder of warplanes agitates as our building shakes, as the thundering sound of bombs break, as my mother takes my hand and pulls me awake. People scramble downstairs, saying prayers, desperate and scared. As the bomb shelter bears closer, I look up at flashes of light above, and I'm undoubtedly aware that death is there. Resounding rumbles outside, nowhere to hide. We huddle in a corner, traumatised, barraged by intensive blasts and horrifying airstrikes. Mothers wail, babies cry, and the toxic smell of war intensifies. Hours pass as glass shatters and the sound of destruction encompasses us, bodies paralysed by the horrors occurring outside, helplessly supplicating for this dread to bypass. In the tight embrace of my father's grasp, I feel strangely safe, cradled in love, as from above the missiles blare, tearing the entire city apart. I close my eyes, a faultless victim from childhood cast. Try to explain to a child as they cry the meaning of an enemy or an ally. Attempt to clarify to victims as they grieve how this war is justified, why their world was brutalised, their homes vandalised. A child of war, exiled from peace, struggles to release the despair she feels, battling demons, unable to release the memories or find reprieve to appease her life so she can live in peace.
That was very beautiful. Thank you so much for that. That was very touching, and I could just feel everything.
It makes me very emotional every time I read it.
It's even like you've experienced that, you know. It just wasn't written. That was that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Yes, I think if you're gonna go to see that poem is on your YouTube.
I actually don't have a YouTube really, but I've got just my Instagram at the moment, so people can follow Rana GC and follow my adventures with my work and my art and all the crazy things I get up to. I did start a TikTok channel. I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. It's called Curating Life, I think, because this is another passion of mine, is to teach people curating life. So like an art gallery where you curate each piece so it's placed in the perfect position for people to enjoy. Yeah. You can curate your own life and not be a victim to circumstance, but take control and lead the way you're going to go, which direction to go in. I'm very passionate about that.
Love that. Curating life on TikTok. Okay, that's where you're going to find this soldier here. Alright, guys. So, one more thing. What is our spoken word going to be? Are we going to be doing any more this year? Or how is our creative journey looking?
I know. I've been wanting to do, I really wanted to do a project. So this is my personal life now, separate from my work. I feel like we need to do something as women. Like I feel like we need to do a women-led project called calling for a better world for our children, because we're not going to tolerate this anymore. So it will be a little bit political, you know, it will be a little bit, this is kind of what I'm thinking now. This is what I'd really love to do. So haven't really done anything about it, but this is the next project I would really like to work on, because I think one voice is good, but multiple voices is much more powerful, multiple audiences and multiple art forms, you know, so poetry with music, with singing, with other means. So hopefully you'll do some rapping. And I just feel like that's the next project to be done.
Awesome. And I think that's I'm glad you said that, because, you know, we all know each other from October. So I'm so glad that we've got that WhatsApp.
Yes.
Because this is when you ask for the support.
Yeah.
And if you want to run with this,
yeah.
I know you've got people at work to help you, but you also have...
Oh, this is not a work-related project. This is just a personal...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have us.
Yeah.
So
I know. Thank you.
Let us know.
It's great to have that collab. Thank you, Tina. Really, that was your brainchild, and it's been great. We met Barry and we met all the others, and, you know, to build that into something really meaningful, because I think artists don't really have a space to go and collaborate, and that's kind of what you've built through that. Whether it stays on a WhatsApp or it turns into something bigger,
yeah.
Be great.
Well, slowly, I'm just, you know, it's pretty much, it's whoever collabs with me gets to go in there and meet the rest of them.
That's the privilege.
So that's how it's going, and it's up to everybody else to, you know, connect. If you feel like, oh, I need something, like you were looking for a mixed audio, and I said I don't know, and then you ended up with Carl, like that helped you. So, you know, it's just little things at the last minute, and yes. Anyway, we are going to wrap this up. Yeah. So that's it. We're going to work on this project this year, and
now we've committed to the audience. We have to.
Yes. Okay. So
have to make the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And that's your spoken word thing, or
that's going to be a collab project. We can decide what we want it to be, but for me, it's a powerful women-led project for some sort of a better world for our children. But that's very broad, so we can decide how we want to narrow it down.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. Like, I have been wanting to wait. I was like, when is she going to do something? When is she going to do something? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just bring it up. Like, we're going to do something. Even if there is nothing happening, let's just make it up.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
You've held me to it. Now I have to do it.
Yeah, they're going to be waiting. So, that's it for us. If there was anything else that you'd like to say, or another quote or an encouragement that you want to tell our viewers, what would it be? And then let them know where to find you.
There is one quote that I kind of live by. You know, it's really motivated me, and it's very simple, and I can't remember who quoted it, but it's, if you change nothing, nothing changes. So if you want a different result, you have to have a different action. Otherwise, you're just going to get what you always got. So that's a piece of advice I live by.
Thank you. And where can they find you?
Work related. They can come and see me at MFO in Southport, or they can contact me on Rana at mfo.org.au. Or personal related, follow me on Instagram, probably the best way, and you can connect with me that way. Send me a message through Instagram or Rana GC, and love to connect with people.
Thank you.
Lovely. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Yeah.
All right.
Send us out, Tina.
And yes, we are signing out, and we are going to be seeing you on the next video, and you're listening to Making Waves.
Cool.